Larry Davis. I'm a ag lender from KeyBank. I've been in ag lending for about 25 years. Um, Originally from a livestock farm in southern Indiana, graduated from Purdue University, and I've worked in Ohio and the Great Lakes area for all of my career. So, done ag lending and worked in particular at one time or another, with the dairy industry specifically. Well, cash flow in its simplest form would be whatever is left over after expenses are taken out of income. It's what's available to basically make debt payments with, interest payments, um, and any other capital purchases that an operation might have. So, in simplest terms, it'd be net income, adding back in interest and depreciation, and coming up with the amount that's available to make payments with and buy capital purchases. If you don't have money to be able to pay obligations with and to pay for expenses, operation is going to be in trouble very quickly. So having a positive cash flow and as much cash flow as possible is what enables a business of any kind, be an agribusiness or otherwise, to sustain itself and to grow in the future. Over the last 18 months in the dairy sector in particular, we've certainly had some challenges in cash flow in general. Most of this is brought about by some of the lowest milk prices we've seen in almost a generation. So obviously, with grain prices and feed prices, coming off of some very, very high levels of 2 years ago, cash flows have been pinched. Probably in the last 6-8 months, we've certainly seen some relief in that area, and a lot of very productive and efficient farms have improved their cash flow and are now showing a positive cash flow. But it's certainly been some challenging times over the last 18 months or so. It seems like that over the last year or so, we've seen all operations take a real hard look at their expenses, and certainly feed expense is a major contributor to the overall expense picture of an operation. And we've seen operations take a real hard look at how they're spending money on feed, what they can interchange, what types of ingredients and sources they can vary and look at, and in an attempt to decrease their overall cost. It's really been pretty interesting to see what various operations have tried, and interestingly enough, many of them have been able to decrease feed cost and not give up a lot in terms of production. But I think that the biggest thing in hard times like we've seen over the last year and a half has been a desire for operations to maximize their efficiency and to try to get the most they can out of every dollar they spend on feed. I think it's important in all times, and especially during times of stress like we've seen recently, for producers to take a hard look at their expenses and try to become more efficient, try to do the things that they need to do to survive, and that would certainly include looking at their rations, looking at their overall expense picture, and trying to get rid of any unnecessary expenses, while at the same time maintaining good production and doing what's necessary to continue to get the highest producing herds that they possibly can. So, I think the main thing is to take a hard look at at what it is that's working well for them, and continue to try to do those things, and then look at what their excesses might be and what they can maybe change to become more efficient.